New Landing's Job Chat is brought to you in part by the Prosperity Advisory Group, the next step in your financial future.
What is the most important thing you can do to get hired? That is today's subject on Job Chat. I'm your host, Hector Silva, along with Don Appel.
Hector, could it be that we job seekers have overlooked the key that will literally unlock an opportunity to get employed? And if so, I'm ready to find out what that key is.
Well, we have someone with us today that is going to unlock that for us, and that's Brad Justice.
Brad Justice is president of Justice and Associates, a personal development company, and co-founder of Team Office, an office furniture company based in Kansas City, Missouri. Brad has spent the last 25 years of his career researching and developing a better way of connecting with other people. In 2007, he published his first book on the subject, The Holy Grail of Selling. The sales process described in the book can be used by anyone interested in building relationships with other people built on the foundation of trust. Brad, welcome to Job Chat.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, Brad, thank you for being here. And let's just ask a simple question. Of all of the things we do to get hired, what is the most important?
Number one and most important thing, not only in getting hired, but in business, in every facet of business, two words: persuasion skills. That is our ability to persuade other people. And I see a lot of people out there on the job market that have been in positions, and those positions just didn't require them to persuade anybody. Quite often it's the opposite. They were there as gatekeepers to stop the persuaders. And when we're unemployed, especially in a longer term career transition, our persuasion skills are the most important thing that we can have. And so many people just don't know how to do it. It's not that they're incapable of learning, they just don't know how.
And it's because that we don't use persuasion skills?
I think in part you're right. They've been in jobs, in positions where, operations, administrative, support positions, even leadership positions, believe it or not. I see a lot of business leaders, I'm amazed that they can reach that level without effective persuasion skills.
So persuasion skills would be more than just sitting across from somebody and saying, this is what I've done before, and boy, I was good at it.
It's a great way to put it. It's exactly right, is that we bring our education to the table, we bring experience to the table, maybe we have a portfolio to share with a prospective employer, but then that's it. Then we walk away. One of the persuasion skills I hope to talk about today is to never leave an appointment without an appointment. That's an email interaction, a phone call, especially a live face-to-face interview. Any sales professional that's been in the game of selling for any length of time knows that you never ever walk away from a client interaction or a prospect interaction without a hook, if you will, to get back in the door, because you'll never get back in.
Let me ask you, we keep using the word persuasion. Mm-hmm. What does that mean to you?
It's another good question. My ability, if you will, to get you to arrive at a specific decision, whether to buy my product, to hire me. If you have kids, convince teenagers to clean up their room, not drink, abstain from certain behaviors. Persuasion skills are very important, and there's an art to it and there's a science part of it, and with a little practice, a little reading and studying, just about anybody with any kind of education can learn good, solid persuasion skills, and it makes everything else in life easy. You can't always persuade people to see things your way, but you can learn how to get better at doing that. Make your life a lot easier.
So if you're in an interview, you want that person across the table, that interviewer, to be thinking in their mind, boy, it'd be a mistake if I let this person go.
Absolutely. Yeah, this person, you want to, part of persuasion in my business of selling is to, the first thing we want to do is build a good rapport. because nobody's going to hire anybody that they don't like and feel comfortable with and trust. And that's the first thing that you do. That's really, if you can do a good job of that, you can not know anything else about persuasion, and you'll do very well. If people like you, people don't hire people they don't like. Let's face it.
So what I hear you saying is, before you can sell the product, you got to sell yourself.
Oh, no question about it. And everybody's heard that, but very few people know how to do that. And it's really the ability to get in front of somebody and make them feel comfortable, make them feel like they can trust you, and quite honestly, to be the kind of person that they'd want to go out and have a beer with.
I've heard you say that hiring managers don't hire resumes.
No. And
Expand on that.
well, thanks. So much emphasis is put on the resume. And honestly, I think LinkedIn has almost replaced the resume. We have to submit resumes. We have to post them. It's part of the process. Actually, I see posting a resume as nothing more than a contribution to building rapport with my prospective employer. They've asked me to post the resume or submit the resume, so I'm going to do that, but I'm only doing that to get them to feel comfortable with me and trust me.
Yeah. When you're sending in that resume, all you're really saying is, I'm interested, and here's a little proof that I've done something like this in the past, so I'm not fresh off the street without any knowledge.
Right.
But that's just information. They really don't know you at that point.
Right. And I'm hiring a person, right?
Exactly.
Not a piece of paper. I'm not saying it's not important, but I can tell you I've hired people for almost 13 years now for my company, and maybe once or twice I've actually read the entire resume. So I want to see the person. You know, is there enough information, as you just said, Hector, on that resume to warrant a meeting? And sometimes, in a few cases, there hasn't been. But I just had a gut feel that I wanted to meet the person, so I did. And some of the time I've been right. The person, I saw qualities in that person. Quite frankly, I liked the person enough. In a couple cases, I hired him on the spot.
So the persuasion actually starts with in that resume, and hopefully near the beginning, since you're not going to read the whole thing, just to build an interest.
No question about it. Yep.
That hook you were speaking of.
Absolutely. It's a great point, Hector. The resume, the cover letter, which there's a whole chapter in a book that I just wrote about the importance of cover letters. I see a lot of information on the internet about the cover letter's dead, which I couldn't disagree with more. I think the cover letter is more important than the resume. The cover letter is like a handshake. You know, the resume is a dossier of work experience. But the cover letter is the first 7 seconds of a person's experience with you. And the first impression is vital to the relationship. So if I can craft a cover letter and a resume that really, as you said, captures that attention, I've got a great start at building rapport and a relationship with that person. And if I can continue and get in front of them and complete that relationship, I'm going to get hired.
So you want a lot of personality in that cover letter.
Oh, yeah. You obviously you want to stay professional, and it needs to be appropriate to the position. You know, there may be people out there listening right now from a variety of vocations. So you want to make sure your language is appropriate to that profession. My cover letter that I'd write for a lab technician would be different than a creative writer, right? However, the intent is the same. I'm writing a cover letter for one reason, and that's to create enough interest that they'll want to meet with me. I'm not trying to get hired through a cover letter and a resume. That's too much.
A salesperson could sell different products, but it's still the same person selling. So, like we said before, you have to sell yourself first before you sell anything else. But in this case, you are both the salesperson and the product.
Exactly. You're absolutely right. And even more so, keep going. A product that the employer is going to have to live with, much like a spouse, for a very long time. Or not, which is even worse.
That's worse.
Right. So this is why you can begin to understand why an employer is so hesitant and now you've got all the laws and regulations around hiring and terminations. People are very, very careful, but they want to be sure that this is a person that they can live with for an indefinite period of time. That's a big decision. So our job as job seekers is to make them feel as comfortable with us as possible, to build a friendship that can last, and that's done over a course of emails, cover letters, resumes, and multiple meetings. Sometimes even we go and I have some prospective employees come in and spend a day with us. And I frame it as, see if you like it here. See if you like the culture.
It's a two-way street.
Exactly. But what I'm really doing is I want to see what they're like to work with. And I get to do that, a test drive, if you will. And an interview is a test drive. An email is a test drive. We never want to walk away from any of those without a set appointment to go back again and get in front of them again.
There are different types of salespersons. When you walk into a store, there's some that are very aggressive, some that will just let you look around, and there are others that just will fill you with information while others pretty much don't know their product.
Right.
When you're talking persuasion, does that have anything to do with being aggressive or the information you bring to the table, or is it more a personal thing?
That's a very, very good question. I think there is a time when, I've closed thousands of transactions in my career, and I can think of some cases where prospects almost asked me to close them, if you will. We had spent, I've had selling cycles for one project of 3+ years, and they're tired, and you've provided information ad nauseum, and they really want to be closed. But I'd say 98% of the time, it's all personality and relationship, making them feel comfortable. Then the customer, when they're ready, will ask you for the information. And you give them the information that they've asked for. If you feel like they're not asking the right question, there's a way to phrase that and say, have you ever thought about this? A sales trainer, a great sales trainer of mine early in my career, taught me a great technique. And that is, when you see a prospect about to make a decision that's not going to be good for them, it really isn't going to be good for them, instead of saying, hey, this is going to be a big mistake, Mr. Prospect. You need to look at this, which can be offensive, can make them defend their position, even though they know it's probably wrong and you're probably right, because we're human beings and we love to be right. Take that same bit of information and put it in the form of a question. So I might say, I've been in meetings and clients are about to select $1 million plus worth of office furniture, and they're about to pick hideous colors that I know they're going to hate in a year or two. Trendy colors, orange panels or whatever. So instead of saying, you're going to hate that in about a year, which would break my rapport, we're back to rapport and relationship. My rapport and my relationship is everything. It's the focus of everything I do in every meeting and every interaction, no matter how far our relationship goes. And when they hire me, it becomes even more important. So I'll say, hey, have you ever thought, that orange panel, that's pretty cool. That's going to be cool looking. Have you thought about this one too, or this one? And you can see them almost every time. Look, they're not threatened. They're comfortable. There's trust, and they look and they say, I don't really like that one, but you might have a good idea over here, Brad. Let's look and see what that would look like. It's just a question.
You've offered the option.
It's just a question, yeah. It's not about being right.
No.
It's about being liked.
And once they answer or rethink, then there's a trust in you that builds.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that correct?
And I don't want, the last thing I want to do, no matter what, is break the trust. If I break, it's just like raising children when they're very small, 2 or 3, and they do something that is not good for them, and that. You want to correct the behavior, and you snap at them, and they look at you. Have you ever done that? Mm-hmm. And you can tell what they're thinking, and they're thinking, I've never seen him do that before. I'm not sure I like that. can I trust him again? You know what I mean? They
Yes.
can't articulate that. Well,
And they don't have to. You can
big
see
people
a
are
lot.
just little people that grew up. And when we do anything like that can threaten that trust, that rapport that we have, it's not good. Now, I have 2 kids. There are times when you've got to correct their behavior. But again, there's ways to do that. There's ways to persuade, which I talk about that in my book, Embedded Commands, which I hope we'll get into later in this program. Questions. I say, hey, honey, you've got a lot of clothes. You've got a lot of cool clothes. And they'd look great if they weren't on your floor all the time, wouldn't they? Big smile. Big smile, I know. She knows what I'm asking her to do. And slowly we get the hangers out. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And I'll do that over and over and over again. And sure, maybe I'm not the strictest father in the world, but I'll tell you what I do have. I've got a great relationship with my kids.
We're branching out into child rearing here as well. This is a multifaceted broadcast.
I tend to do that.
Well, what I'm hearing is long-term relationship.
Oh, yeah. Is it everything?
Well, definitely. In your business, you're not the only one selling office furniture. So they have to have a reason to come to you and come back to you. Mm-hmm. And you're the reason, not the furniture.
Can I add something to that? You're right, but you can go a little further. They have to want to come back to me, okay? I learned through many years of leading people is you can't lead by telling people what to do. Great leaders, which I'm certainly not, I'm a work in progress, but great leaders have the ability to get their followers to do what they want them to do because they want to do it, not because they're scared of losing their job. Mm-hmm. And we can apply that kind of logic to job hunting. We want to persuade in a way, you asked me a little bit ago, is persuasion, coercion, or I forget the word you used, but aggressive selling. And no, you want them to hire you because they can't let you leave. They feel like losing you would be much worse than having you on the team.
And just like when you want people to come back for more furniture,
Mm-hmm.
they are looking at a long-term relationship. Mm-hmm. They want you to be here for working with them and for them for a long period of time. Mm-hmm. So you have to have that persuasion that tells them not only do I want this job, but I want this job because I'm going to be here for you, mm-hmm. and I'm going to do things that will help you. So that it becomes them not only, and by making them, you're making us, mm-hmm. and not you and me. Mm-hmm. And I think part of that persuasion is that you have to have people feel that it is a team, a collaboration that you're heading into.
Yes, it's important that through that process, you're right, that our customers, our prospective employers, that we walk away from every interaction. Now, this takes time to build, but you can do this in the job search process. I believe everybody can do it for any position, especially if you get one live interview. I want to walk away and leave that prospective employer with the feeling that I will be there for them through thick and thin. It doesn't, and that doesn't have anything to do with the job that they're looking at hiring me to do. That I will be there for them, not only for the company and the task that they're hiring me to do, but for them. I'll give you examples. I've been over 29 years of selling. I've been to bris. I've been to countless client weddings. I've been to weddings of their children. I've been to countless retirement parties. And when I got married in 1999, and we said those magic words, I turned around with my wife, and I'll never forget, we looked at the people there attending and watching this, and all the friends and family, and my wife looked up at me and said, "It looks like a sales meeting." Because almost all the people on my side of the aisle were clients. And I looked down at her and I said, "It's beautiful, isn't it?" And we walked down the aisle, and I shook hands with people that pay my bills, that have built my business, that have helped me build my life, that are very, very special to me. And I was there for them, and they came out for me that night.
So obviously it was more than just a client
I hope so.
salary relationship.
I hope so.
Right.
I think if you go to, especially if you're a sports fan and you take October 30th as my anniversary and it was a wedding at 7 o'clock at night and you miss an ESPN football game to go to a wedding, I'd like to think that it was about a little more than office furniture.
I think so. Well, we have gained a whole lot of trust here with our guest, Brad, and we definitely want a longer relationship than we have over just one
Excellent.
program. So we will be visiting with Brad again a number of times, and we will be going deeper into this and expounding on some of this and some other things that come from his book. So if anybody wanted to contact you, Brad, or talk to you about the book, where could they reach you?
They could go, there's a website for the book at www.howtofindwork.us. My email address is on there, and I encourage people on that website to contact me with questions. I offer a free newsletter. I'd also like to offer all your listeners, if you'll allow me,
Sure.
to go to a little microsite that I built where they can download a free copy in a PDF form of the book. It'll take 20 seconds to download. They can print it, or if they want to be kind to the environment, they can read it on their monitors. And that address is, get my glasses here, www.theartofgettinghired.com/thank-u.php. I'll repeat that. That's www.theartofgettinghired.com/thank-u.php.
How do you spell that, Vank?
THANK. So it's just like thank-u.php. Sorry it's so long, but that's actually a site that is not advertised and is transparent in the internet unless you have that exact address, because obviously I don't want people going in there. But please, if you're listening and you want to learn a little more about how to persuade people your way, go there and read the book.
Sounds like a great resource.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brad.
You bet. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Also, remember that all of our job chats are available to you anytime on our website, newlandingsjobchat.org. Just click on the Past Chats button.
And as always, we thank you for listening. And until next time, may your days be full of health, happiness, and success.